The American College of Radiology.
Focused forward.
Together.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. We have Dr. Mouton, who will be giving a presentation on global health in interventional radiology. We are your moderators, Mekeisha Campbell, and we have Anne-Marie Wijaya as well. So Anne-Marie will go ahead and introduce our presenter, Dr. Mouton.
So Dr. Mouton grew up in Kenya until the age of 17 when he moved to the United States for his final 2 years of high school on a scholarship. Following this, he pursued his undergraduate studies at Rice University and attended medical school at Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine, after spending 2 years conducting preclinical cancer research at the University of Chicago. Prior to joining Yale's Integrated Interventional Radiology Residency Program, he completed an internship in general surgery at Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami Beach. Dr. Mouton considers himself incredibly fortunate to be undergoing training in such a rigorous program at Yale, which offers him a comprehensive exposure to both diagnostic and interventional radiology. Throughout this journey, he developed a keen interest in various disciplines of IR, particularly in venous thromboembolism, pulmonary embolism, and MSK IR intervention. Furthermore, his passion for global health has led him to be significantly involved with Road to IR, a consortium of universities founded at Yale aimed at enhancing IR training and services in East Africa. To date, he participated in 1 trip to Uganda and 3 trips to Tanzania. Presently, Dr. Mouton is co-leading the newly established Road to IR Uganda partnership under the mentorship of Dr. Fabian Lodge Guap, who is both the co-founder of Road to IR and Dr. Moutonga's mentor at Yale. Dr. Mouton, thank you for joining us, and please take it away.
Thank you for the introduction, Mekeisha and Anne-Marie. Thank you for the invitation to give this talk. I'm going to talk about global health in interventional radiology. And I know you already spoke about this, but I was born and raised in Kenya, did most of my schooling there until 10th grade, moved to the US to complete my 11th grade, and I stayed all through medical school. College, I went to Rice University, took 2 years off, did cancer research at the University of Chicago. And then following that, I joined the Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine. Did a residency. My residency included an internship in surgery, and I'm now a postgraduate, a PGY5 at Yale Interventional Radiology residency. I know there's emphasis on diversity in this forum. I'm a US-trained doctor, but I'm also a Kenyan. I'm here on a visa. I think it's important for me to kind of talk about my rationale into going into interventional radiology. When I got the opportunity to come here for school, I wanted to, learn as much as I could and apply myself back at home, because I felt this is it's a very unique opportunity for me, being born and raised in Kenya, understanding how the system works there, understanding the needs, and then coming here and having the opportunity to, fulfill my education goals. So I wanted to find a way to connect these two worlds, and I wanted to do that in a way that has the potential to make a big impact. Before medical school and throughout medical school, I did a lot of shadowing, different specialties, and when I got exposed to interventional radiology, it just clicked, and it was a no-brainer. This is a field that I end up in, and this is something unique that I can bring back home. And back home, I mean Kenya, East Africa, and Africa in general. So at that time, I think there were less than 10 interventional radiologists in East Africa, and I'm not even sure how many of those were full-time interventional radiologists then. Interventional oncology, which is, oncology is a field that I've been very interested in. Most of my research is in cancer research. So interventional oncology services or treatments were not an option then to patients in East Africa. And when I say interventional oncology, local treatments or options, I'm talking about transarterial chemoembolization, 190, ablation, and so on. And then I was looking for a career or a specialty that would allow me to be flexible in terms of, I can choose to spend 6 months in the US and then the next 6 months in Africa, being involved in global health initiatives. For interventional radiology, majority of the time, relationships with your patients are tend to be transient. So which means, you can do procedure, follow up with them, and then maybe that's the end of the relationship with that patient. So that allows for some flexibility, as opposed to, for example, if you end up doing medical oncology, you own those patients, because of improvement in treatments, there's improved survival. And so you tend to have long-term relationship with the patient. And you can imagine trying to split your time between the US and your full clinic. It might not be ideal. So for me, that was something that was important for me. It's finding a specialty in medicine that would allow me to be flexible. And then interventional radiology allows me to remain versatile. I have my background is in diagnostic and interventional radiology training. So if I decide to go to a low resource country, I can sit down and see what resources do they have, and then I can adjust my involvement depending on the resources that they have. If they have, let's say, an angio suite, then I can do interventional radiology procedures. I can teach them how to do interventional radiology procedures. If they don't have an angio suite, but they have an ultrasound and a CT, maybe I might be able to do ultrasound guided or CT guided cases. If they have no capability to do procedures, then I may be able to go through diagnostic studies with them, teach them how to, for example, read a CTA or read vascular ultrasound studies and whatnot. So I felt I could apply myself in various ways. And in low resource countries, the more versatile you are, the bigger of an impact that you can make. And why Yale residency for me? They share a common goal, common global health vision with me. The residency program here at Yale. This is a founding institution for the Road to IR, which is a consortium building capacity for interventional radiology training and services in East Africa. There's robust mentorship from Road to IR co-founders. Dr. Fabian was a resident when Road to IR consortium was founded, is now a junior interventional radiology attending at Yale. Dr. Frank Minja was a former neuroradiologist at Yale and now is at Emory. And then there is profound support for my global health interests, from being included in Road to IR leadership meetings, from being given the opportunity to co-lead our partnership with Uganda, being able to get funding for my trips to East Africa, to our partner programs in Tanzania and Uganda, and having a very accommodative training schedule that allows me to do all these things. And now we can talk about the Road to IR, how it began. In 2017, Dr. Minja and Fabian, at that time, Fabian was an interventional radiology resident, went to Tanzania to do a readiness assessment. At that time, they saw that there was not a single interventional radiologist in Tanzania, which has a population of about 60 million people. There was complete lack of even basic interventional radiology procedures. And most of the time, if patients had resources, they would go to nearby countries or fly to maybe Kenya for those kind of procedures, or they would have to, travel, for example, to India for those interventions. They have a robust diagnostic radiology training program and service that Dr. Minja helped build. You may ask why Tanzania. Dr. Minja was born and raised in Tanzania and came to the US for his medical school, radiology training, and after his training, actually spent a good amount of time in Tanzania building the infrastructure for diagnostic radiology. So that was ongoing for some time. And then when Fabian came to Yale and had an interest in interventional radiology and global health, he had a partnership with Dr. Minja, and together they had this idea of, trying to build capacity for interventional radiology in Tanzania. So that's how it all started. So during that assessment, they found out that the imaging equipment was available. They had ultrasound devices, they had CTs, and they had a CM. And then they had a strong hospital support as well, based on the work and the paving that Dr. Minja did before Fabian came to Yale. In 2018, the Road to IR Consortium was founded. And in 2019, there was inauguration of a formal training program in Dar es Salaam, specifically in Muhimbili University of Health and Health Sciences. And then 2020 onwards, members, we started applying for the Road to IR, started applying for grants. And some of the grants that were awarded went towards supporting the initiative program. The model of training is that of bringing interventional radiology experts from the US, Europe, Asia, or from other African countries. You bring them to Tanzania to teach every month for 2 weeks. So we call it, like, our model is out of high frequency 2-week teaching trips. And the idea for that is to support or mitigate brain drain, or to support brain gain. So instead of supporting the trainees from Tanzania, instead of supporting them to go to other countries or foreign countries for their training, we bring the experts in their country, and they get trained within their own country and within the context of the disease processes that take place there. In addition to bringing the interventional radiologist, we also bring the nurses, we also bring the technologists. Interventional radiology is a team sport. You can, if you end up, you need to train both. You cannot limit yourself to just training the interventional radiologists. You need to train the nurses and the technologists, because you need them to support their services, the interventional radiology services there. And the curriculum in Tanzania, they usually go to medical school straight from high school. So they do 5 years of medical school. They do an internship in either general medicine or surgery. Same thing we do here. And then they do diagnostic radiology for 3 years. And following that, they can apply for the interventional radiology master's program, which takes 2 years. Same thing as here in the US. And the phases of growth in Tanzania, phase one was that immediate need. And immediate need, I mean like doing procedures such as ultrasound-guided procedures and CT-guided procedures, to do biopsies and to place drains. And then phase two is more core procedures such as doing central lines. And then phase three was more of complex procedures such as the transarterial chemoembolization, which is an interventional oncology procedure. These are some of the pictures from the 2018-2019 period. This is Azar, this is Ivan, and I think it looks like they're placing drains, which is one of the more basic interventional radiology procedures. And this is, I believe, they're doing a uterine arterial embolization for fibroids. Over here, they're getting ready to do a transarterial chemoembolization. This is 2021. Like I said, the program is a 2-year master's program. So the training started in 2019. This is Eric, Aza, and Ivan, who are the initial trainees, and also now board of directors with the Road to IR consortium. This is during their examination. We bring examiners from various parts of the world, the experts and the examiners in their own country, and we bring them to Tanzania at the end of their training to examine them. And we want to make sure that their training is at par with the international standards. These are the same people that will be examining me once I do my board exam 2026. This is graduation from the first class of 2021. This is, like I said, this is Eric, Aza, and Ivan. Aza and Eric stayed in Tanzania. Ivan left and went to Rwanda to establish interventional radiology services there. This is examination day for the subsequent class. This is a class of 2022. And like I said before, we bring examiners from different parts of the world to examine them. This is all the interventional radiologists who have graduated from the program in Tanzania. So this is class of 21, class of 2022, and class of 2023. We've graduated 13 interventional radiologists so far. 11 of them have stayed in Tanzania. One of them went to Rwanda. That's Evan went to Rwanda. Fonzie went back to Nigeria. So in the last 6 years, from 2018, since Road to IR consortium was established and the partnership with Tanzania was established, up to now, Road to IR has organized more than 70 2-week teaching trips to Tanzania. Like I said, we've graduated about 13 trainees. So in Tanzania, for example, before 2021, there are not 0 interventional radiologists. And as of 2024, we have 11 interventional radiologists in different parts of Tanzania. For Rwanda, there were 0 interventional radiologists before Ivan graduated. Now since his graduation, we have at least one interventional radiologist in Rwanda. In Nigeria, before Fonzie graduated in 2022, there was one formerly trained interventional radiologist in Nigeria, and now they have two formerly trained interventional radiologists there. Road to IR, this partnership ended up with this partnership, Tanzania, or more than 3,000 interventional radiology procedures have been done in Tanzania, and before 2017, that number was very low. Most of the time is people, used to be doctors from other countries going there for like a week, do procedures, and then they leave. And then as far as research, this consortium and the partnership with Muhimbili, the program in Tanzania, they've published more than 15 manuscripts at the moment. They've published more than 20 abstracts. They've had more than 30 speaking engagement presentations at different forums, talking about RSNA, SIR, SARC, PAIRS, you name them. And then this consortium has been able to apply successfully for 8 capacity building and disease-specific grants from different organizations, NCI, RSNA, ESIR, amounting to almost 170,000 US dollars. And in terms of growth, since the program in Tanzania was established, we've been able to expand to Uganda and Rwanda. And as far as the network is concerned, we have a network of 90 plus interventional radiologists, 30 plus interventional technologists, and more than 25 interventional radiology nurses. So this is expansion to Rwanda in 2021, which Rwanda has a population of 40 million people. So at this time, we have at least one interventional radiologist for 40 million people. So you can imagine the dire need for eye out there. This is November 2021 when the interventional radiology services were launched there in Rwanda. This is Ivan, and this is a team from Emory who went there to support them. And I'll mention that the Rwanda program has a strong collaboration with Emory, Dr. Newsome, and Nima Kukabi. This is them, Dr. Kukabi over here. This is Ivan. He's there to support Ivan do cases. I think this is should be a CT guided case there. This is Dr. Newsome supporting Ivan. Dr. Rukundo do his first transarterial chemoembolization there. And the team program or the partnership has strong support. There's strong support from the government, and this is a meeting with the leadership in Rwanda. During the weekends, we encourage the teams that travel there to explore the country. This is sightseeing in Rwanda. For Tanzania, we encourage them to either go to Serengeti or Zanzibar during the weekends. It's a 2-week teaching program. So in between the 2 weeks, we encourage them to explore the country. So for Tanzania, they go to Serengeti and Zanzibar. In 2023, we expanded to Uganda, which has a population of about 45 million people. And this was in collaboration or partnership with Makerere University and the Mulago National Specialized Hospital. Obviously, this growth began with benchmarking. There's a team from Uganda who went to Tanzania to see how Tanzania were able to build an interventional radiology service line and training from scratch, from ground. So they go there, they see how they set up their clinic, they see how they set up their procedure rooms, and how, kind of to learn how they went about growing their own interventional services there. And emphasis, this was in April 2023. In July 2023, the team in Uganda went to pitch the idea to the Makerere University Curriculum Committee, talk about, okay, there is need for interventional radiology training in Uganda. There is need for interventional radiology services in Uganda. This is what we need. We need this. This is how we can do it. So that was kind of the pitching. So they went, spoke about it, and they obviously spoke about how they'll be able to build the program from ground up. And this is Eva. She's the chief resident for the interventional radiology program in Uganda. This is July 28, 2023. The curriculum was approved. They're given a green light to start the interventional radiology services. This is Eva setting up the procedure room. It's an ultrasound. This is the monitor, just simple way she just went to a room, got all the essentials, the basic stuff that were needed, and just set up the room. And then this is August 7, 2023. Dr. Ibrahim was the first interventional radiologist to travel to Uganda to begin the teaching. August 8th, which is like a day later after he arrived, this is him in the clinic seeing patients with interventional radiology trainees there. This is Eva, this is Sam, they're seeing patients over there. And then this is Dr. Ibrahim doing a diagnostic study to evaluate the patient. And on the same day, they did the first interventional radiology procedure, which was, I believe, was an ultrasound-guided liver biopsy. And this is Walter, who is the interventional radiology nurse in training in Uganda. It's also very important for the travel teams to forge relationships with other specialties and specialists. This is Dr. Ibrahim giving a grand rounds on interventional radiology procedures and services, and speaking about how they can be a resource to the different specialties that were represented in this meeting. And the current status now in Uganda, we've been able to, up to February 2024, we've been able to organize 8 teaching trips, and we have other monthly teaching trips organized for the rest of the year as well, confirmed and already organized as well. We are currently training 3 fellows, Eva, Alex, and Sam. They're slated to graduate in 2025. The program there has been able to do more than 200 cases, and they've been able to see more than 300 patients in the clinic. And as far as the infrastructure building is concerned, there are plans for a new CM and multiple interventional radiology angel suites. For scholarship, they've been granted 1 grant that is helping with the efforts of building the interventional radiology service line there. So for Road to IR, our next steps is to obviously make sure that we can sustain the programs that we've been able to establish so far. So the Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda. And then the next step is to gradually expand beyond East Africa. There is critical need for interventional radiology services there. There's almost 1 billion people, and there are less than 40 interventional radiology in sub-Saharan Africa. And this number may be even an overestimation. So the plan here so far, the countries in green are the countries with interventional radiology services and training, mostly services. And the goal for Road to IR is to make more countries green. Like I said, Road to IR is a consortium. It takes a village. These are different universities that are involved with the Road to IR. You can learn more about the Road to IR initiative. You can go to our website, roadtoir.org. We're on Instagram and Twitter as well, and you can follow us there. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mouton. That was such a great presentation. I really enjoyed it. I like that you talked about Road to IR. I like that you talked about, teaching trips to Tanzania, Rwanda, and you want to expand out to East Africa as well. So with that, I know that you talked about the expansion. I just wanted to ask you, what projects are you working on next? I know that you have Road to IR and you want to expand to the East, but what specifically are you trying to do, or are there new projects ahead?
Yeah, I mean, right now the focus is on the program in Uganda. It's a relatively new program. It's young. We haven't graduated a class yet. So we want to make sure that the teaching is streamlined. All these teaching trips are already organized, planned, and confirmed. We don't want any spaces as far as teaching is concerned. So that's my main focus at the moment, making sure all these logistics are planned and the trips are planned as well. And then I think the second thing, as we shunt the resources from our more mature Tanzania program, as we shunt those resources, teaching resources to Uganda, we cannot forget about the mentorship of the junior attendings in Tanzania, right? Tanzania may not need the teaching teams as much anymore, but the junior attendings there still need some sort of mentorship. So we're looking into how can we leverage technology to enable that. And so, for example, the things that we've thought about is bringing telepresence technology. So this is technology that would allow the team in Tanzania, for example, if they have a complex procedure, they're doing a complex procedure and they need mentorship through that procedure, then that technology allows them to live stream that procedure from Tanzania with a mentor somewhere, maybe in Africa, somewhere in Europe, or somewhere in Tanzania, and they can take them through that case, right? And now that helps us, we can mentor them and then continue growing them more, the younger program in Uganda.
Thank you for that answer.
We also wanted to know, what are some of your experiences as a person with a diverse background within the field of radiology, and what type of unique opportunities this has provided for you?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of my presentation. For me, being born and raised in Kenya and living there for 17 years, understanding the culture, understanding the need, and having the opportunity to come to the US for my training, that was big for me, because I felt, I'm in this unique position to bring the two worlds together. So I've always tried to align my opportunities with that. Okay? That will bring me closer to that goal of bringing these two worlds together. So the same thing, what I would say is, like, everyone needs to, as a medical student, MPH student, wherever you are, if you're interested in something, just take a step back, think about, for example, for medical school, it's such a long journey, it's a challenging journey. You have to sit down, take a step back, and kind of think about what motivated you. What are those factors that motivated you to go into medicine? And then try to align that with your next steps, like your immediate steps and your long-term steps.
So I do have another question. So I know that you mentioned that you encourage your team, or everyone is encouraged to explore the country that they're in. The question I have is, when entering into another country, can you explain any barriers you encountered, or how do you establish cultural competency?
Yeah, for as far as Tanzania and Uganda are concerned, my transition to those countries was much easier, relatively easier compared to maybe teams that come from US and Europe, because our cultures, the Kenyan culture is quite similar to the Ugandan culture and the Tanzanian culture. So my adjustment was a little bit easier. But in general, what I would emphasize on, if you're completely new in a country, I think the first thing that you need to do before you go to that country is understand the history, because history sometimes dictates how people act and how their mentality and approach to life. So you need to understand the history, try to understand the culture. And the best way to do that, obviously, you can read about the country, or you can reach out to teams that have already been there, or you can reach out to the person who is in charge of onboarding you when you get to the country. Just talk to them, try to understand what the culture is, what is the country doing very well, and where the gaps are, right? And so the idea of understanding the need is also big, because sometimes we might be going there with an idea of this is what we're going to do, but that is not. You have to customize what you're going to do there based on what the need is, not just going there blindly being like, this is what I want to have an impact on. No, you have to understand the need, customize your approach based on the needs of the country.
So we also wanted to know, how can medical students or anyone from the medical field get more involved with your institution specifically, and the projects that you're working on in the future?
Yeah, Road to IR Consortium is very, very inclusive in general. We usually offer opportunities for medical students to go there with the teaching teams. You join the teaching teams there for 2 weeks. And the idea for you is just to go there and understand and see how interventional radiology is practiced in a low resource country. There's no pressure on you. You're just there to absorb, learn, right? There's also an opportunity for you to network with the teaching teams that are going there, because some of those teachers or experts are attending in institutions that we may be interested in, or medical student may be interested in for residency. So there's that opportunity. The only thing that you need to do is just reach out to us. You can inquire through the Road to IR website, or you can reach out directly to Fabian, me, or any other active members of the Road to IR Consortium. We support the medical students with accommodation when they get there and transportation at the moment. And then additionally, for medical students who may have more time in their hands, we have opportunities for research. For example, we had a medical student from Jared from Harvard who spent a year there, and he spent that year helping them set up the infrastructure for research and helping with grant application. Actually, most of the grants that we got for Road to IR, a lot of that work was done by the medical students. So we have those kind of opportunities based on the time amount of the time that you have.
Thank you for that. So we're part of the medical student section, more specifically the diversity, equity, and inclusion section. So the question I have for you is, what encouraging words can you offer someone from an underrepresented background who wants to start or create their own global initiative?
I think it's just to encourage, I'm giving this talk here as a testament that it doesn't matter where you come from, the challenges that you may have to face. For example, for me, like, the visa stuff, even let's say talking to people when I was applying to residencies, talking to people about this idea of building capacity for interventional radiology in Africa, and talking to them, and they sit down and like, that is not practical. It's not possible. So I'm sitting here as a testament that if you have a goal in mind, you can do it. The most important thing is, like I say, sit down, try to see how you can align those opportunities with your long-term goals, right? Opportunities, align them with the long-term goals, and find mentors. Mentorship is the most important thing. Find people who can relate with you, people who believe in that goal, right? Like I said, I was applying to residencies. I went to some places. I talked to them about building capacity for IR in Africa, in low-resource countries. They would look at me and being thinking that this is never going to happen. And then I go to other places. They're like, oh, yeah, why not? You can do it. Come over here and we'll support you. Right? Those are the things that you want to look for. Programs that will support you, mentors that have time to invest in you, and have your best interest in mind. So to me, it was this global IR, for another medical student. It may be another project, whatever it is. Believe in yourself, be patient, and believe in the trust the process as long as you're putting the necessary effort.
Thank you so much for that. And then lastly, as our last question, we just wanted to know if you could give a fun fact about yourself or anything that you like to do in your free time.
Fun fact, we're talking about being patient with the process. I think there was a time between college and medical school. I felt like I had done everything that I could to be a good candidate to go into to get into medical school. And I say, like, my plan A is to get into medical school. Plan B, medical school. But plan Z was, if it fails, then I'm gonna go back to Kenya. My dad used to be a town administrator, now a commercial farmer. So I always tell people there was a chance I could go back home and become a commercial farmer. So, but the point was not so much about the farming. The point was, sometimes in life, when you do something it's not working out for you, it's okay to take that step back. For me, taking that step back was the idea of going back to Kenya, or going to a place where I feel supported, place where I have such a support system, and kind of recalibrating and coming up with a new strategy. So that was my fun factor. So there's a small chance of me becoming a commercial farmer, I would say. You guys have any other questions?
No, that was amazing. Actually, the commercial farmer, that's a pretty cool dream as well. Dr. Mouton, we want to thank you for hosting this presentation. We want to thank you for, being a part of the Q&A section. I believe this will be very helpful for future medical students, any professionals that are interested in radiology, global radiology, interventional radiology. We just want to thank you so much for your time, and we hope to, continue this going forward.
Yeah, thank you again for the invitation, and please share my details with people who may be interested in this. Yeah, I'm happy to be a resource to anyone. It doesn't have to be in global health. It can be, questions about residency, questions about applying to residencies as an international student and whatnot. I'm happy to be a resource to anyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.